Hello everyone and welcome to the walkthrough of the text guides with me, Golf Clash Tommy, Mr. RJTV. Welcome, oh my god. Yeah, I actually forgot a little bit about that mohawk, but welcome buddy, welcome to the channel.
Thank you very much. It's awesome to be here once again. Never gets old. Yeah, I lost a bet. I lost another one too, so stay tuned to what happens to it next.
Oh my god, oh my god. Yeah, okay, I'm just going to leave it there with some oh my gods, but like, I'm glad to see everyone watching this video here tonight. We're going to go over hole number 1 to hole number 9 for the Voyager tournament, a mix of holes, and both me and RJ is going to cover rookie, I'm going to cover pro and expert and master in the best way that we can. If you want to look at or listen to just one specific course, you can check down in the video description down below and press on that timestamp that works with that specific hole you want to watch, so you don't have to listen to the whole video if you don't want to. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel here. So I think it's time to just get going. So hole number 1, par 5. How do we play hole number 1?
Well, for hole number 1, right off the bat, you don't need an extra mile with a full top spin. So knowing me, I really like the accurate clubs. I would go with a quarterback, and I do like taking the right side. Be careful on your drive that you don't overdrive. I've overdriven it a lot of times in the future because I didn't realize that it was a downhill hit, or I'm sorry, basically downhill. So I would always end up rolling into that rough. So be very careful there. But if you do that, you bring yourself a big dog, you'll only have to spend a marlin, and you'll be able to get on the green in 2.
Yes, and for us that plays from either second tee or from third tee, you can see I'm going to talk a little bit about the white line there. And the white line is a more aggressive line that we can take. And then we need to play with a power 3 ball, and we need to have some tailwind. If we're not having tailwind, I would not suggest to go there on that side. Then I would be playing safe, would be playing on the right side there, put myself safely up there with my drive. And yes, from second tee you can play with a quarterback or the rock as well, but if we do have some headwind, then we need to play with the driver that is the best. So if we, for example, find ourselves in the tournament with some headwind, I would for my second shot play with a cataclysm or a big dog, so we are certain enough that we can reach for the green in 2. And if we do have just some decent wind, then we could play with the sniper, which often is going to be in like level 8, level 9 or level 10 here. So this is going to be a decent chance for us to make an albatross, but it will most likely be a eagle hole in my opinion here. And that goes the same for master. If crazy headwind, then we play with a power 4 ball, but other than that, nothing really changed when it comes to from expert or pro and master. So hole number 2, in my opinion, we need to have an eagle on this one in every division. Do you agree with me, and what's your thoughts about hole number 2?
Not only do I agree with you, but if the playdemic, the people who design this course and give us favorable wind, I think that we could get a hole in 1. Now, when I say I think we could get it, don't expect it, but I really like the white line with an extra mile. A Titan either way, whether you're going white line or not, but I'm not going to really talk too much about the rough bump because there's a 1 in 4 chance we'll have that right wind. So I'm going to talk about the black line, and I'm still going extra mile and Titan. Let's see here. We're going to set up very close to the bunker in the rough. So right where Tommy has that black box is where you want to set it up. And you want to go full left spin, back spin, and full left curl. Make sure your ball guide shows you going beyond the sand, though. You do not want to be taking your shot from the sand. It is also downhill. This is another course where when I did take the black line, I'd always manage to mess it up, and I found out it's downhill, so as long as we make that 20% adjustment, we should be fine and be able to get it in in the hole in two.
Yes, and I'm just going to build on that, as RJ said, 20% extra in our adjustment. That applies also from second and from third tee. When we take second tee first, we're going to play with a Thor's hammer. The reason I do want us to play with a Thor's hammer is because we do have a decent distance with it combined with the backspin. That will help us with some tailwind to just get that ball to just bounce before the bunker and land nicely towards the pin. If we do have crosswind, we can play with an extra mile. We can also play with an apocalypse if we do have like at least 3, 4 or 5 bars of backspin. But with tailwind, we do need to play with the Thor's hammer and have at least like 5, 6 or 7 bars of backspin. That is why Thor's hammer is definitely going to be the best play there. From Master T, the only way for us to be able to reach over there is if we have some type of tailwind. If having headwind as we had the last time, then we're not going to be able to reach over in Master, and we either have to bounce it in the bunker and bounce up, or we have to just lay up short and try to ship it in from distance. Power 3 ball is preferred, Power 4 ball possible as well to use, but Power 3 ball, especially from Pro and Expert division, is crucial in my opinion, and this is a must eagle in my book. If we don't get an eagle on hole number 2, we will definitely going to lose a stroke towards that goal that we actually are going for. The white line for the rough bump, in my opinion, doesn't apply that much when it comes to Pro, Expert, or even not Master whatsoever, but Pro and Expert division. So I do like us to set it up before the bunker and play that shot every single time. But sure, you can play the rough bump if you want to, but I see it as a much harder approach. So hole number 3, par 3. It's one of the city park, and so very interested. I was about to say confused, but that's the wrong English word. But I'm very interested. How do we play this par 3?
Yeah, well, I'm very confused as well on how interesting this hole is now. Basically, this is one of the more straightforward holes in all the tournaments we've had. You see how we kind of get a bit of a zigzag there on the screen where the fairway is. I like the black line where the black box is. I go a little higher than that. I go right to where that elbow is. Bring a navigator or better. And when I mean or better, I mean in terms of wind resistance. I think the wind resistance is very important, because if the wind pushes you to the rough or to the sand, your birdie is all but gone. But if you do that with absolutely no spin, you should be very close to the hole, if not possibly in it.
Yes, and I'm going to build on that as well. I do believe that the black line is going to be the line that we're going to play with, especially also from second and in 99 out of 100 times when it comes to 30. But second tee first and foremost, if you're going to play on that fairway pad, we're going to use 2 bars of topspin if we're going to have crosswind. If we're going to have tailwind, then we play 1.5 bar. If we're going to play headwind, then we play with 3 bars of topspin. Important, because we don't want to go short, and of course we don't want to go too far as well, because we do have some rough close to the green on top, and we do have it uphill from the start of the green up towards the pin. So if we go short, then we're going to fall back down and most likely going to have a hard putt. So important to just have the spin adjustments down correctly. So when we do look at the white line as well, you're going to see maybe some opponents from you, and maybe you play it like that yourself, but that line applies only if you're going to play with a club with a lot of backspin. And with that, I do say the Guardian for an example, then you can play straight on the green and make this one go close to the pin and get up to the top and just stay there. The thing that makes this route a little bit harder is because you really need to pay attention to the wind. Because if you do have headwind and play with a lot of backspin in headwind, and also having uphill on green, so you can just picture yourself that this ball is going to stop basically big time, and most of the time go short. So you really need to be aware of your spin adjustment if you're going to play straight to pin. That's the same if you're going to play with tailwind, extended ball guide line, headwind, compressed ball guide line. So in my opinion, that is not the better way to play, but it's absolutely a possible way to play. 10% extra in your adjustment because we played slightly downhill. This is one of the courses where it actually goes from third tee we play higher up, second tee we play a little bit lower down, and then second tee and first tee we kind of play it basically like from the flat surface as it is. So this is one of the tee boxes where it kind of dropped down. It's not something that you might pay attention to, but elevation wise it really makes a difference. So wind 5 ball, in my opinion, if it is possible for you. Other than that, it's definitely possible with a power 3 ball like a Kingmaker, or even a Navigator if you don't have any Kingmakers. So hole number 4, and we're going to build with that as well, and those that are watching and listening most likely going to really could pay attention that there is some good eagle opportunities here. So hole number 4, is it possible to make an eagle here in rookie?
Oh, definitely. I like taking the black line, which will give you a straight on shot. I would go with the extra mile and make sure you use around full topspin, depending on the wind. I believe it would be right around full topspin. I like full right spin as well. And we're going with, obviously with the black line, we're going to the left. So if you're listening like a podcast, you could go to the right of the tree or to the left of the tree. I like going to the left of the tree, and that should set us up for a nice shot. So much so that I would bring the Hornet just for that increased accuracy to possibly chip in for the eagle.
And for us that actually love the Thorn, you can play with the Thorn as well. I just wanted to say that, you know, for us, you know, RJ, my favorite club, the Thorn, and it kind of makes me getting a tear in my eye really when you just mentioning the Hornet. But now, just jokes aside, it's definitely possible, and I do agree with the accuracy there will definitely help out, especially in a lower level of your clubs. Second tee we play basically the same type of way. Black line, we play it over the left bunker, trying to bounce ourselves over, stay away from the trees, but you can actually play through the tree there to the right, so I shouldn't be that concerned. 3 bars of topspin is going to be enough. As much side spin to the right as possible, especially if we do have wind that is coming in right to left. And then if having wind right to left, then we need some curl as well to counter for that. The bounce there is very inconsistent because it's very slopey. I don't know if that is the English term for it, but at least in my book, in the Swinglish book, that is slopey. So have that in mind as well. Master tee kind of get applied, and also when it comes to the white line there, the white line is definitely going to be a way to play if we're going to have headwind. The last time we played in Master, we played in headwind, and then many players tried to just go full blast overpower over the bunker with as much topspin as possible. Many of us, including myself, went into the bunker, went into the rough, and some people might even went into the water. The way we do it then is that we actually played it by the white first black marker. Hard to see if you just listen, but then watch it afterwards and you will see. Then you just roll yourself forward to the bunker there on top, and then you can just use the slope because it's very uphill, so the ball is going to fall up and then fall down like in a bowl, which is a very interesting approach, and of course can be played even from second tee with pro and expert if you feel not that confident with your drive. And I will say that for rookie as well. If you don't feel confident by doing that drive, might have to overpower at some point as well, then you can play with just a regular quarterback. Play yourself up, because then you can actually play the rough bump towards the green with a sniper without having to overpower your shot. So that is how we are looking at this course. You can play it different ways, but in the end, to make the best way to get that eagle on this par 4 is if we play ourselves up as close to the pin as possible and playing with the Thorn or the Hornet in that way. So 2 different ways to play this hole, and I hope we will get some wins where we actually can go over the bunkers there, but in the end, then it's definitely a good opportunity for us to make an eagle. Hole number 5, I would consider this one to be the toughest course in the tournament. Do you agree, or what's your thoughts about hole number 5?
I do agree, because if you mess up your drive, you basically mess up any opportunity to be able to get the eagle on this hole. Now, the last thing I want to do is upset my good friend Tommy, so I promise you for the next 2 holes, I'm going to keep my Hornet in the bag, including this one. So let's not use the Hornet. I would go with the extra mile and take the right side, as I just said. So you're going to want, you're also going to need, as you can see, to bend it a little bit. I like the Katana because of all the side spin. However, a Quasar will work as well. Full right spin with either ball. 3 or 4 top spin. You know, just kind of judge with your ball guide to make sure you jump over the sand and the rough, and you don't roll too far forward to where it would take your next shot out of play with the big dog. And that's exactly what we're going to do with our second shot. Is we're going to have the big dog, and there's like a little lily pad, or I'm not sure, a little pad of green there that you're going to bounce on with your big dog to make sure that you have enough length. Use some backspin because you don't want to go sailing past the green, and you can land on the green in 2. That is the way I would take. What about you, Tommy?
I would take the same way. I know there is a black line, and often the black line kind of applies the easiest way to play the hole, but for hole number 5 it's not like that. I do see this hole like, okay, we do have either a very easy drive or we have a little bit tougher drive, but the easier drive allows us to get a very tough second shot, and the a little bit harder drive gives us an easy second shot. And also the harder second shot needs to have some sort of a tailwind to be able to reach for the green into, or at least bounce on that pad to the green in 2. So that makes us play according to the white line, and you would be playing with 3 bars of topspin if playing from the second tee, and max the side spin to the right. I would consider playing with a Kingmaker here to give us power 3, Titan possible as well, but with the Kingmaker we give ourselves a little bit more side spin to the right. The 3 bars of topspin apply if we do have crosswind or tailwind. If we do have headwind, then I would love us to go, not love, but I would want us to go with 5 bars of topspin instead, just because that the ball guideline is going to be compressed in headwind. So for the second shot we play either with the sniper or we play with the big dog or the cataclysm. Depends on what you value in and also what you feel comfortable with. I will play with the sniper, but that is because I feel comfortable making that drive. If you do not feel comfortable making that drive, and might feeling like, okay, I'm going to cut the rough and be short, etc, etc, then I would put the big dog big dog or the cataclysm in my bag to have that distance for the second shot. So that is basically, yeah, okay. One thing that I want to add is for the elevation part, like when you make your drive, add 10% because you play downhill. For the second shot, you take away, you subtract 10% from your second shot because you play uphill. So that is very important when you do play this going. You're going to notice that especially for the second shot, when you are in the view there by the fairway, like on the surface, you're going to see that it is uphill, and going to have that in mind when you do play. Other than that, there is not that much more to say about hole number 5. So I think we're just going to go to hole number 6. Hole number 6, par 3. One of the courses on Tour 11 and also Tour 6 for rookie. Hard one in my opinion, so I'm very interested. How do we play hole number 6?
Oh man, hole number 6. I'm going to get heartburn from all these holes that have burned me in past tournaments. So many ways to choose from. I'm going to go with the black line though on this one. We're going to keep the Hornet in the bag as promised. I believe a sniper would be the perfect card for this if your sniper is a high enough level. If it does not have at least 4 backspin, use your Viper. But if it does have 4 backspin, the ball guide is really going to be helpful in terms of being able to get very close to the pin. This green can be very slopey. I like that word. I like that. I'm going to use that. If you know, and you don't want a hard putt or anything harder. The last thing you want to do is land in that sand. There is a 20% additional adjustment. I did not know this until watching Tommy's video he did earlier on this. So that might have hurt me a little bit when I was adjusting for the wind. So keep that in mind. I like to aim even with that little bit of dip in the fairway. You know, you see how it kind of looks like a number 6, the sand. Well, right before the stick part of the 6 comes up, I aim just a little bit down there, just below where the black box is on your screen. And if you follow those with the 4 or 5 backspin and put some, I didn't have this in my notes, but I believe you would want some right spin. Please correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm very embarrassed I didn't put that in my notes.
Correct.
And you want to stop as close to that pin as possible because you don't want your ball to get away from you.
Yeah, and I would say even though we do have just one line here, for pro, expert, and also master, or let's say pro and expert first and foremost, we are going to play this one with either the driver or with our wood club. Sniper for wood club, quarterback or the rocket as a driver. The reason I say the driver is because if we do have headwind, we're going to play with our driver. If we're going to have tailwind, we do play with the wood club. 4 to 5 bars of backspin with the wood club, and we do adjust for the ball guideline tip to be just by the fringe on the green if we do play in tailwind. If we do play in headwind, we're going to line up so the ball guideline is in the hole with our drive there, and we need to go with a lot of backspin. The reason we're going with a lot of backspin, and also that we rather want to stay short than go long, is because we do have a little bit of a slope after the pin that most of the times is going to roll a little bit further than expected, and then we're going to have a putt that we have to overpower. I think we all have found ourselves in that situation where we have to either overpower that putt or have a very long putt to make that birdie. When it comes to this hole again as well, second or 30 doesn't really matter. 20% extra with your adjustment. From 30 you're going to play with the driver all the time. Doesn't matter what type of wind you go, it doesn't matter the wind you're going to have. So, and then I will be playing with the quarterback, especially if I do have it maxed out. Wind 5 ball preferred for pro and expert and master, but I would see absolutely a par 3 ball be possible for any division as well. But the more we can reduce the wind, the easier we will get the ball to stop as well, because this is a tough par 3. Don't expect a hole-in-one, even though it's possible, but at least put yourself in a situation where you don't have to have a long putt towards the birdie. So another par 4, another good chance in my opinion to get an eagle. So how do we play hole number 7?
Well, personally, I like the white line quite a bit, but I've been playing this game for over a year, and I'm talking to the rookies. So if there's anyone in rookie who's very confident in their skill, the white line is a great way to go. If you get in, if you measure it just perfectly, you could end up right there on the green. I don't even have to go over the particulars with you, because if you take that way, you know how to get there. However, you need to make sure you're very good with your sand wedge and your rough iron, because no matter how good you are, the chances of you getting into the rough or the sand are just so high. And because I'm telling rookie today, I'm going to go black line. I'm going to bust out my extra mile and go with some full top spin. I need to get my ball beyond the last tree. And when I say beyond it, I don't mean just beyond it, but as close to the rough as we can comfortably get for our second shot, where, listen carefully, I'm going to pull out the Thornet. The Thornet. So you can either bring your Thorn or your Hornet, depending on which club you like better, and hopefully chip it in for the eagle. If not, at least you're not getting rid of your chance for a birdie.
I'm so confident that there will be someone that is going to mention the Thornet on any of the streams that is coming here. We'll see who is going to be first. Yeah, I can just build on that with hole 7. But you're just going to tweak it just a tiny little bit for pro, expert, and also master. If we do have some sort of tailwind, then we are going to go according to the white line. It doesn't matter if you don't feel confident about it. It is a really good chance for us to get to the green into and make an easy eagle putt. Have in mind that the green slopes down, so we do need to play with some backspin, and we really need to make the ball bounce just after the bunker, and that is going to be tough to estimate how that bounce is going to be, but in the end we're going to go for that try. I don't add anything when it comes to the elevation, so I'm going to play it just by what my number says. Play with a driver that do have at least 3 bars of backspin. Just if we do have tailwind, we do need to have at least 3 bars. So I will take away Apocalypse level 1, 2, 3, 4 and play with either the extra mile or the Thor's hammer in those situations there. If having an Apocalypse level 5, 6, 7, I would play with Apocalypse if so. If we do have headwind in any type of form, we'll play according to the black line, and that goes the same for pro, expert, and master, because it's going to be too tough to reach there on the left side. And we need to go with as much topspin and as much distance as possible for us to get past the trees, because especially in master, if we do have headwind, I'm not sure that we even with max topspin on our club going to be able to reach past the trees, because if we're going to be having the trees in our way, then we're going to have a tough way to actually yeah, of course we're going to be able to take away the opportunity for the eagle, but also going to have a tough way to actually get to the green too. So we really need to have that in mind when playing this course in the tournament, actually, to see, okay, so we're not maybe you need to play even shorter with that drive if we're going to play over the trees, and then we might going to play with the tsunami as a long arrow instead. We'll see what happens with the wind when the tournament comes. So 2 more holes to go, and the last par 3, hole number 8, a bumpy little one, but I actually like the way you explain how to play it from rookie to RJ actually. So I'm interested, or at least I know the viewers is interesting to hear how to play hole number 8.
Well, I always played hole number 8 using the black line in every other tournament that I played. However, after watching a good friend of mine that may or may not be on with me right now tackle this hole with the white line, I became a huge fan, because it's all about ball control. You can bring your backbone, so no matter what level of rookie you're in, you're able to do this, because that is a Tour 2 club. A Marlin, although with wind, I would say this is such an easy, not easy, but such a good opportunity for the hole-in-one. Bring the highest wind resistance ball you possibly can, just to make sure that you line it up perfectly to get it in the hole, and 1 backspin. And Tommy ended up right next to the hole from what I saw. As soon as I watched that video, I changed my notes. I changed my strategy. I'm going straight. Now, do remember that there is a pretty big uphill gap or whatever between the sand from the fairway in the front to the green in the back. That's why we're only going with the 1 backspin. Yep. What say you, my friend?
I'm going to build on the same actually. It all comes down to what type of wind is going to be in the tournament. If we are going to have, like, let's say we're going to have like a massive headwind or a massive tailwind, then I would consider playing either left or right side actually, to use the slopes there on the side. If we do have crosswind, I would actually from the second and also from the third tee consider playing there in the center. Because with crosswind, we do not have the bunker there to really be afraid about, to be honest, because that is the thing that we are afraid about. From left side or right side, we know we're going to have at least an easy putt or a wedge for birdie, but playing in the center, it gives and allows us to have a good chance to make an hole-in-one. So it all depends. I will add 10% in my adjustment for this hole. Important, because we play it slightly downhill, especially if we play there in the bottom, because that has a lower lower fairway than it has on the sides. Weird, but true. As well as RJ say, as high wind resistance as possible, in my opinion. From second tee, we do play with either a wood club in minimum distance, or we play a long iron in maximum distance in center. Wood club on left and right side. If we do play from 30, we're going to play with a wood club every single time. So, hole number 9, last but not least, this is a course that has been in several tournaments before. I do believe that even if you, yeah, I don't know really, even if you have been taking a break for 4, 5, 6 months, I think you know this one actually. So very interested how to make an albatross on this one, or how to secure the eagle. I'm very interested. Let's hear.
Well, this is a very rookie mistake type hole. A lot of people that may be playing in their first few tournaments, or haven't really played with this hole too much, would be very interested to know that you could, depending on the wind, you could set up your target to bounce on the green where that first black line is and go right over with no problem, only to have that wind carry you a little extra, and you hit the rough and your ball goes into the water, causing you a penalty. So I like to back it up just a little bit from where the rough is, full top spin, full left spin on the ball. And I also have a Titan here, but you're not going to need all that Titan distance on your drive. That's for the second shot. So with that, also us lower extra mile users can also use full left curl, and that will keep us on the fairway. Again, avoid going into the rough off of your first bounce with the drive. That happened to me a lot coming up. I never understood it. I don't know if it's if it's slopey. You'll have to let me know if there's a little dip there, from where the ball lands or not. But anyway, that full top spin is also going to just bring you that much closer to the hole. You will land approximately where that second black box is, and I would bring the big dog for my second club, because you don't want to end up short. Now, with this second shot, in terms of measuring it out, I like the first bounce to land on the fairway and the second bounce to land on the green. I noticed doing that, I end up a lot closer to the flag than usual. You're probably going to need top spin on your big dog as well. And that is how I will wrap up my portion of hole number 9.
Yeah, and hole number 9, I'm going to be very boring to say. Do take away the thoughts of making an albatross on this one. The reason I say that is because it's going to require a lot of luck when it comes to the second shot, when it comes to first the bounce, and then you will have to roll through a very long green and then hit this tiny little cup that is where the pin stands. That is going to be very difficult. So the thing we're going to do is the same type of drive you do in rookie. That is the same type we do for pro expert and mastery. Bounce on the fairway by the black marker there, and using side spin to the left. We are aware on with strong tailwind, like 6-7 miles per hour tailwind or more, we play with only 3 bars of topspin. It's not going to be, what can I say, we do not need more, because other than that we're going to play ourselves too close to the rough on top. That is the only risk that we do take with the drive, that we do go too much with too much speed and coming in too close to the rough there on top, because then we're going to have the trees in our way, which is going to be something that we don't want. Second shot, we need to play with with the big dog or the cataclysm here. We do need distance. and also topspin, especially if we do have some headwind. So I think it would be naive if we pull in the sniper and thinking that we're going to let the accuracy and ball guideline put ourselves in a position where we do make an hole in one. So be aware of that. Take the eagle here, focus on the par fours as eagle opportunities. In my opinion, when it comes to this tournament, we are going to see low scores, or like, is it high score? I don't know what it's called, but at least, I mean, I don't know, something at least. I mean that we're going to see scores around minus 26 to minus 30, depending on the wind. Hole 2 and hole 7, in my opinion, are key holes. And when it comes to the par 5s, take the eagles. Sure, decent opportunity for an albatross, but par 3s, definitely take the birdie and be happy with the birdie. Do you have any final thoughts, RJ, about the tournament?
Have some Pepto with you. Make sure you take something for heartburn, because there's going to be a lot of rookie mistakes. There's going to be a lot of just slight adjustments that will be the difference between easy chip in or, you know, having to use one of your mistake clubs.
It is very important, and it has come to that now, especially when players are getting better and better and better, that you really need to be spot on. You can't go through a tournament just with a regular score and hope you will win, because that won't happening. So that is something that we really need to pay attention to, and that is why we do have the whole guides, we do have the playthrough. Check them out. For me, during the week, I'm going to stream, I think, every day. So check those out as well for the playthroughs. Rookie up Monday, Pro Expert will be up Tuesday, and then Master Wednesday. That is going to be with the tournament win, helping you out on where to play on the course, and hopefully that is going to help you get that gold that you are looking for. So I will say thank you to everyone that has been watching. Thank you to you, RJ, for getting up so early today. So we actually had time to do it. So I will let you end it up here, my friend, as always. So how do we do it?
We do it with the Thornet on a slopey course, and we say, happy stroking.
Happy stroking, guys.